That doesn't mean you can't be nice and can't be kind, but you just have to know the place and the right time to stand up for yourself. And if someone is doing wrong by you, or you're putting in the hours and the work, and they're not giving you the respect you deserve, you have to stand up for yourself and not let people walk over you, because if you're letting people walk over you, you're not going to really get that far.
I had a really interesting experience when I was at the Sydney Swans event, and I just had to find a guy. I really, really admired him because he was very, very respectable. The way that he presented himself, the way that he spoke, the way that he dealt with criticism that was kind of indirect was amazing. We had a bit of a difficult kind of character when I was at the Sydney Swans event, and I don't honestly know what his kind of intention was to go to that event, but he was there, and he was not really like being abusive as such, but he was just being a pain. Like, he was asking stupid questions that he knew were stupid, and I think he may have had something a little bit, maybe it was a little bit loopy. I'm not too sure. If you don't know what I mean by that, neither do I, but you probably get picking up what I'm putting down. There was something a little bit weird about him, and he was like asking stupid questions. He's like really indirectly disrespectful, and the guy, his name's Drew Arthurson, and he was really, really respectful the way that he dealt with it, and I think that he was being a gentleman, but he also wasn't letting himself be necessarily stepped on.
Do us a quick favor, guys, hit the follow, subscribe button, share this with someone who would benefit from it, and help us grow, as the more we grow, the better the episodes we'll get. Thanks, guys, for helping us, and let's get into the episode.
Welcome back to this episode of the SCULPTED podcast, guys. It is Liam and myself, as usual. We are pretty relaxed today. It's going to be a pretty kickback episode, as we kind of have been doing recently. I think these kind of episodes are not too bad. I think that I put a bit of effort into my ones during the week, just so that there's a bit more purpose in the content across the board. But, that's not to say that Liam and I also won't do that here and there as well. But, yeah, pretty laid-back episode today. But let's just start it off how we always do. Liam, how was your week? What was it like? What did you do? How many blisters did you accumulate? What was it like?
It's been good. Been a good week. Training, been doing some running, gym, released a YouTube video, which we'll go into in a bit later on. Decided yesterday, I'm just going to run a marathon today. Ran a marathon this morning, 3:30 a.m. But yeah, it's been good. What about you, Nick?
Yes. Well, firstly, I watched that video in my morning, and then I heard you say at the end of it, "Oh, I'm going to run a marathon tomorrow," and I'm like, okay, I don't know when he recorded this, so he may have already done it, but I feel like he didn't do it because we spoke about doing like 20 kilometers the day before. So I was thinking, okay, well, let's see what he's doing. And then I see maybe around like just before midday for me, I check Instagram and I see Liam Miller posted on his story, 3:30 a.m. And I'm like, okay, nah, he's not doing it. He's just up early because he doesn't know what a good time to wake up is. And he obviously thinks that 3:30 is a suitable time. But it's fine. And essentially, he goes for a run for the next like 7 hours, and I'm still there. And basically, he finishes when I go to sleep. And yeah, I don't know why. To me, honestly, that's such a waste of time. But fair play for doing it, and fair play for ripping up your
3
feet.
hours?
You can probably never do it again.
3 hours,
Yeah.
3 hours 15. No, it wasn't.
Bro,
I mean, yeah, I woke
you were
up.
so fast
Okay,
as well.
so I woke up. I woke up. I could have been, bro. I could have been so much faster. That's what I was going to say to you before we jumped on this. I was going to say to Nick.
What?
So the hill I was running up. Oh my, bro! It's got to be one of the hardest hills I've ever run up in my life. And then I was running through mud. Because where I live, it's very hilly, and then there's like country lanes as well. So I was going down this country lane, pitch black. I got my torch out, and then the whole middle of the country lanes is flooded. So I couldn't run through the flooded bit, so I had to go on the side. But the side's like rocks, and then mud. So I'm like my feet in my brand new white Nike trainers. My feet are sinking into the mud. That now they're just black. And then I'm running down this hill, so my feet are wet now. So now my blisters are kicking in. Like they kicked in around like kilometer 20, and as I showed you, I sent Nick a video before that my whole bottom of my foot is like, nah, I wouldn't say whole. I'd say like a good solid like
A fair
that amount.
chunk.
Yeah, is like it's open wound.
Yeah.
But I set my mind to it the day before. I said I'm running it, and I did. And all the no hydration, literally like a Nature Valley bar. Like literally no water. I didn't have 3:30 a.m. No preparation.
So what do you say
That's
to every
just
single person out there who prepares for a year, who runs a marathon, and you probably did it in half the time that they did? Just a quick message to them.
It's just in your mind.
I was thinking like
That's
step
the
your
one
game up,
sentence.
something like that. Step your game up's a bit
That's
like
the one sentence.
cooler.
No, I feel like
Right.
if I did it in London, so I was speaking to a coach the other day, and he was saying like London's a lot easier to run, obviously because it's so flat. So I was thinking if I did it in London, I reckon I would have got sub 3 hours.
Really?
Because I did it uphill, and if it was a dry day in
Okay,
London as
true.
well, because I was like slowing down a bit because of my blisters as well. I reckon sub 3 hours because I struggled last 7 with the hills. There's a big hill in the last like 2 kilometers, and then on the like kilometer 7 to go, bro, that hill absolutely finished me. I can't lie.
Yeah.
But
I'll leave that.
what
I'll
about
leave
you,
that up
Nick?
to you.
Anyway, yeah, let's speak about your investment. How's your investment?
So it was crazy that you said it like that. Well, it was a roller coaster, you could say. So I started the week with a meeting with said company, and I won't say who because the episode is coming out this Sunday if you're watching this episode now, or it actually literally may be coming out the day that you're watching it. So, and I know there's so many Nicholas Credible bands out there, so I don't want to give any spoilers out just because I know that you're all waiting. Because my 11 followers are loyal. They actually are. So, because it's my cousin. That's so irrelevant. Anyways,
It's all my fake account.
my week start. Yeah, I think a lot of my fake accounts too. Yeah, we've all got them. So started off with a meeting with said accelerator. Went well. It's all on video for you to watch. Every single meeting actually, from the 1st to the 4th, which was a span of 4 days. Now I think that I progressively got worse in each interview, and to kind of see it in the full video, that I think I also got worse quite a lot. I just can't sell the product very well yet. I sell myself reasonably well, but I don't sell the product very well. So I really need to work on that.
Why do you think
I
that
think
is?
that I had certain avenues that
Why
I
do you
take
think?
with the product that I lean into, where for myself, I know what I lean into for myself because I am pretty structured with actually how I speak about myself typically, because it relies on me talking about the 3 pillars of what I am and that anything that lies within that. So I try and just validate those 3 pillars whenever I'm speaking to someone, especially about myself, which in a accelerator program, they're trying to figure out as much as you as possible. And it's like, you kind of have to just speak about yourself for a lot. And it's a little bit like, oh, I don't really like speaking about myself, or I do like speaking about myself, but essentially happens, progressively get worse. I think that I need to probably understand the most important things about what the app does rather than all these other, nice things that the app does. So I really got to work on that a lot, but that's going to naturally come. Additionally, if the product is good enough and I'm not selling it to the best of its ability, then that also probably means that my product isn't good enough for them to just take off a whim. And I would admit that it's probably not good enough for them to just say, oh, that's the best idea since sliced bread. I don't think that my product necessarily is that. I think that I can just create culture so that people see that and then they start thinking that's the best thing since sliced bread. So I kind of have a different approach, which pretty much Nike also did. There were other probably running shoes, actually maybe not Nike, maybe Adidas, and a lot of other big companies. They made their product the best thing since sliced bread. They didn't necessarily start off with that product as the best thing in the world. It was maybe just, I want to interrupt this episode, but yeah, got to do what I got to do. make sure you like this video. Make sure you leave a comment if you enjoyed it. If you want any to give any feedback, even just leave that below. We're open to everything. Join the Patreon, guys. There's going to be a lot more stuff on there. We want to hear from you guys as well. We want to get you involved. If you want to be beta testers to the SCULPTED app, let me know. I can make that happen. Try and get involved at any level. What we're doing at Live Free, guys, make sure you check what we're doing there. Liam's got his own personal YouTube channel. He's always uploading. I've got my own personal YouTube channel that I've started uploading twice a month now. It's going to be cinematic like I am now, right? I've got the light above, got a cool camera. That's what I'm going to be working on, guys. So make sure you follow Live Free Diaries. SCULPTED app. We're doing great stuff over there. Additionally, we want to grow this podcast, guys. And the only way we can do that is through your guys' help. So make sure you subscribe, listen to us on all audio platforms. We're everywhere. Make sure you interact with us. Make sure that you help us grow, because the only way that we can grow this podcast is through you. We'll get better guests. We've had great guests. We'll get even better guests on. Production value will go up. I've got my studio, but we need to get Liam his studio, and the only way we can do that is through monetizing this platform. So make sure you do that, guy. And I'll go back to the episode. Another version of what other people are doing. So I guess that's kind of the thing that I really need to work on at the moment. Additionally, if I'm able to get more of an experienced person on board, that also helps me just pitch more efficiently. But yeah, I'll keep going with that accelerated program in terms of trying to pursue others, and then additionally the angel investors. But that's kind of what my week was primarily focused around, and then a lot of meetings, etc. as always. But yeah, pretty stacked, but need to be better for sure. Yeah, it happens.
What do you think then, in terms of like the actual speaking conversation part of it? I know you mentioned obviously the kind of selling the product, but do you think you could have like worded it different or?
Yeah, I think it's not necessarily the words. I have a very basic vocabulary because when I was in Germany, I was just speaking to everyone in English and I was using the most simple words. So it's not necessarily I'm stumbling over my words. It's not necessarily I'm using the incorrect words. I'm just not describing my product in necessarily the best way. Quite often when I refer to a feature of my app, I'm actually referring to a feature that they know of. Now, I thought that was originally a good idea, but when I spoke to someone previously separate from the investment part, he was saying that if you kind of compare your product to a product they already know, then they're just going to think immediately, oh, well, why not that product? Which is a really good point. So I would always say, oh, yeah, my sculpting score is like Whoop's recovery score. And then they're like, well, why don't I just use Whoop? And I'm like, no, but it's a completely different thing. But for them, they don't know that it's a completely different thing. They don't have the context to know that it is a completely different thing. So they just think, well, you just do what Whoop's doing.
That's the same thing when we were talking to like advisors and CTOs and stuff. And that's why I try to refrain from saying masterclass or Udemy or whatever, because it's nothing. In a way, yes, it is in terms of like the hosting platform, like a course, but it's nothing like it in terms of our USP and those kind of things. So it's a hard one. You want to kind of show them what it is and kind of get your point across using the example, but I think you need to create the example from your own product as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. The way that I was also explained it is that you have to be like really ruthless about it. Like the way that you should describe your product is kind of like, you know, Jordan Belfast or whatever his name is, not Jordan Schwarzer, but the other Jordan who is like, sell me this pen, the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Like he's very not brutal or confrontational, maybe confrontational about it. It's like, oh, you don't want this pen? Well, guess what? Someone else is going to go get it, and here's what it is. We'll move on, and kind of be so confident in your product that there's no budge with it. That's what I kind of have to be more like, from my understanding. I think that's probably where I can really improve.
Yeah. Funny enough, he actually, his stepson went to uni with my sister.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, stepson makes sense.
One.
Stepson makes sense, actually. Because he probably
he went to uni on the Gold Coast. Yeah.
Oh, what? In Australia? Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about UK. Okay, but yeah, he's probably staying in Australia as well. That just happened.
No, I think he was. No, I think the stepson was in America, but like just came over to Australia for uni or whatever. But anyway, that's it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's a random tangent. What else is there? Okay, let's talk a little bit about the Sweat Equity podcast. I think that's a full one to talk about, especially just because we're always trying to talk about future guests that we can get on board, just like we did last episode. So I guess probably kind of the same thing there with the Sweat Equity podcast. So yeah, if you are listening, guys, we would love to get you on. Let's speak more because we won't say that yet, but yes, or ideas to be fair, but it's fine. What do they call it?
No, I love the guys.
Replication is the biggest.
Right, Alex Garcia, his content on Instagram is actually doing really well because he's promoting he's analyzing all the businesses. So he did one on like Represent, he did one on like Olipop and stuff of just breaking down their marketing strategies on short form content and breaking it down to how these businesses actually manage to grow their audiences and fan bases and followings. So he's now doing that on his social medias, which I thought was quite cool because it gives other brands insights into it and can help them. But no, they both seem like really sound guys, like not only from the podcast, but I've messaged Brian as well, and like he was talking about potentially getting a brand deal with one of his clients, but it hasn't worked out. But
yeah, good, Matt. Well, yeah, I was gonna say, I think that they are the UK version of Claude and Samir, but then I realized I'm pretty sure they're American, aren't
they? Yeah.
Yeah. So they're just the.
What do you mean?
They're just the American
pretty sure. They definitely are American.
They could just be American with so they could be British with an American accent. So it happens all the time. All the time.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
no, but
it was just
going to that episode. Going to that episode though, which one are we on about? The TikTok shop or the other one?
So the one that I listened to on my stupid little tiny little 10-kilometer run, which is nothing compared to Liam's marathon, I was listening to, actually I probably get it up. I actually don't know what it was, the complete episode, what it was called. I just put it on and it was like, oh, it's 46 minutes. Let's finish my run in less than the podcast. And obviously I did, because I'm not a slow goalkeeper. Although Liam, you would have done it like 40 minutes.
To be fair, 46 minutes not bad.
No. Don't worry. It wasn't 46 minutes. My 10 kilometers are 43 minutes.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Still not great, though, I'll admit. Okay. It was how to find $1 million business ideas. Oh, bro, so they genuinely did just go through everything that we're doing and just say, yeah, these guys are going to be millionaires. That's basically what they just did.
You say that, but at the end of the day, there's a load of other businesses. Like, I mean, what do they go through? They went through hostage tape. They went through. Did they go through school in that episode?
I know that they were talking about live events, which is obviously.
Oh yeah, they were talking about live events. That was it. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So like they were saying that live events need to be redone, and that's exactly what we're trying to do with Live Free. So, trying to make that bridge where you can do online and in person. We haven't really spoken too much about that, and we don't really plan to speak too much about that as well. But that's one thing that we are very cognizant of, is that we can take Live Free down many avenues if we can get basically an established audience, and then through that we can basically explore anything we want if we can just get that MVP out. And genuinely, the MVP isn't too far away, because literally this studio's here. All I need to do is change the background and turn these lights pink or purple, and also I can do that, by the way, so it'll look good. And then we just get like a Live Free branding, and then we're ready to go. It's literally as simple as that for us. That's the good thing about Live Free, is that it really is easy to make.
Yeah, I don't think for us, it's just, I don't even think it's the audience, because I think the audience base will be there. That's the thing. Like, you seen with school,
sure.
Obviously you just looked at them the other day, or yesterday, whatever it was for you, today for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've just pumped ads. They've just pumped ads and got influencers on board. And at the end of the day, we could do that with people, experts that have an influencer-based following, like a influencer kind of 50 to 100k following. We could get those types of people on board, and then that brings a revenue source to the business, like subscription model, but it also brings their following as well, which will help with that. But yeah, you can pump money into ads, and at the end of the day, I've seen that with so many things, is ads that can just bring bring the market you need. You obviously need a good foundation in terms of the founder's story and the kind of overall business strategy and the overall meaning behind the business. But yeah, like ads at the end of the day can also just bring you a massive kind of audience.
Yeah. The only tough thing with ads is that they have to see enough value in your product to actually get a higher CAC rate, which is I'm pretty sure what they call it, which is a cost of acquisition, which is like such disgusting kind of abbreviation.
Oh, that was a good video from. So, do you want to go into that? Did you watch it, the Alex Hormozy one or no?
The one that I sent you.
Yeah.
Still haven't watched it. You can go into it.
Okay, so no,
let me.
Yeah, I'll try to explain it. So I'll try to explain it because honestly, the value behind that episode, 7-minute video, was very valuable because it kind of opened my eyes up into the way he runs his business. So what you were saying, you have in brackets. So we're doing a bit of math here. So you have 2 outside the brackets. So that means 2 times whatever's inside the brackets. So cost of acquiring, cost of goods, and then cost of acquiring customer. So let's say each of those, so cost of goods, let's say each of those, so cost of goods is $100 or whatever it is to pay the person to do the ads or whatever, but then the cost of the actual acquisition of the customer is $100 as well. So that's $200 there. So 2 times the $200 is $400. That's your kind of total. What would you say? That's CAC. You're just annoying me with that. No, so you have so your total number is $400, but you've used for the original $200 of acquiring that customer, you've used a 0% APR credit because you can get that within 30 days. So you've put down 0% on a credit card for that $200, but then you've made that $200 back of acquiring the customer because they've paid obviously for your product in that aspect. Like your product is worth what you just paid them. So you actually are at 0. You just paid back your 0% credit card. And then since there's a 2, like times 2, so your product is worth $200, you've made it back, and then you can reinvest that $200 to then reacquire another customer. So it's just an infinite money cycle. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay, but that's very reliant on you actually acquiring customers. So you have to be very confident that you can do what you're doing.
Yes, but it's also dependent on the calculation you're doing, because look, your acquisition cost could be $50 for a customer, and that's just what you're borrowing there. But if your acquisition then cost goes up to $100, it is not much of a difference. Like, do you know what I mean? You still if your acquisition cost is that, you then have to make sure your product price is right to then do that whole equation again. Does that make sense?
Okay, so I think that you'd have to be a relatively established business to actually do it first, because you do probably run a little bit of risk. Actually, maybe not upfront risk, but I think that it's definitely better to do once you have that customer base probably there, because you also don't know what your price is yet. I guess you don't have too much wiggle room with finding that out either. But interesting one. I wonder if that's a thing that we can do in Australia or the UK
with ads,
with the kind of quote unquote infinite money glitch with the bank account.
I think, I think you probably could. There's, let me have a look.
Just because there are typically like different laws and regulations in country to country with bank accounts as well. Actually, I got all of my money from my German account to my Australian
0%
account
interest up to 28 months. Up to 28 months. He said 28 days.
Boy, yeah, 28 months sounds like almost too good to be true, bro.
There's a lot of things over here at England at the moment because they've just changed the whole labour with the renting as well. So like interest rates gone up with houses, and then they've just the government here at the moment is crazy. That's another thing I just watched. So I watched whilst I was doing a bit of work, was a trader. So one of the world's best traders for Citibank at the time.
Traders.
He was making like millions of dollars a year trading, and he was saying how in 2011, when everyone was struggling with the financial crisis, because obviously in 2008 it happened, and then 2 years later, everyone was struggling, trying to pay off their loans on their houses and those kind of things. Yeah, 3. That's me being up for 23 hours. Yeah, or 22, whatever it is. Yeah, so when everyone was struggling trying to pay off their debts, he had a meeting with the guy who runs Citibank, and he's like, basically, before everyone knew like the governments were struggling for money, they're all in debt, like England, Ireland, USA, like all the top governments. He was saying that the Citibank owner told him this before everyone else knew, and he was telling him that everyone's in debt, and then he walked away from that meeting, and he was thinking, so where is all the money going then? Who's acquiring all the assets if all the top governments are in debt? And then he realized that it's actually us. It's the people at the banks and the people at the Citigroup and those traders. They're acquiring all the assets. So he was then trying to move that away. I've gone on a bit of a tangent here on a different topic because I was just watching this video, but it was so interesting because he was talking about how it's gone from the middle class, obviously, trying to pay off their debts and their loans, and now all the top class, well, what would you call it? Top class?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Or aristocracy, maybe.
Wow, we're getting
words for Nick. But he was saying how that all of those, they're acquiring all the different assets and just taking the money from the poor, and that's because he's originally from a poor background, but he made his way up to one of the world's traders. But yeah, the banks are a crazy one. That's why I kind of got onto it, because of the 0% interest and those kind of things. But
yeah, okay. So tell me quickly, Liam. Now that we've understood the whole, global economics crash in 2008 to 2011, which was a 2-year span apparently. Tell me, how can we use that to our advantage with LiveFree?
Well, just get into trading.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Create a trading course on LiveFree.
Oh, okay. Right, that's actually good. I was saying are you saying that we ditch LiveFree for trading? But no, we create the trading courses in LiveFree. Yeah, actually, okay, let's go. That's good. We can do that.
No, I actually do think there's some information behind that, in the sense of like the education just behind the financial system, because most people don't even know how money works. They don't even know where money comes from. Like, these banks are just printing, like they can just print money.
Bro, I'm one of them. I don't know where money comes from.
In America, exactly. Like, so to be able to just provide that information, even if it's basic, like, obviously what I have explained there is kind of complex because I've just learned it from someone else. Yeah. But if you truly understand what I've kind of just said there, even though I've kind of slaughtered it a bit with my terminology. There's so much. Yeah, terminology.
Oh, I thought you said tonology. I'm thinking, I think you word up. Terminology, yeah, got you.
Yeah, even though I kind of slandered it a bit, there's so much information behind it, and people, their mindsets will change. And that's like when I was speaking about the Alex Hormozy one before, like my mindset changed to think, I can just acquire a customer without using my money, and then just keep acquiring a customer and a customer and a customer, and just have a infinite money cycle.
Yeah, it's a tough one when we're relatively new to this whole world. We don't necessarily know the tricks of the trade yet, which means that we can either learn through doing it the hard way and failing a lot, or we can find someone who's done everything and they just do everything for us. That's what I'm trying to do. I think that's what we need to do with LiveFree. We can work smarter and harder, where the smarter way is to not make all of those mistakes, but that's also the harder way is to not make those mistakes as well. So how can you find someone who can then help you not make those mistakes? Well, that's harder to do. It's smarter to find them. So you have to then work really, really hard to find someone who can help you work smarter. And that's working smarter and harder. So if we're able to do that, then we skip a lot of the troubles.
100%. No, I think we need to, as you were saying, kind of with your I don't want to go into it because obviously you're releasing your video, but as you were saying with the kind of accelerator thing, I think we need to get someone not on board as a founder, but just more technical wise as well, which will be helpful to us, which we've been doing. We've been looking at those CTO roles, and hopefully we'll have that sorted over the next 1 to 2 weeks, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we were really looking to get it sorted this week.
But it doesn't take that quick.
We've just had
it
a
takes
few more
ages.
calls and
It really does take ages.
exactly that's what I mean. That's what I mean. So we want to make sure it's the right person's role for us. But yeah, it's looking good at the moment with what we're doing. We're going to put a heavy focus on creating, or not creating the content, but getting our content designed and outformed. That's not a word.
Yeah, I was about to say, did you cut out for me? But no, you actually did say outformed. I thought you said like platform, and the P just didn't come for me. It's so funny. Like we're trying to be ostentatious here, and that's even me being ostentatious. Do you know what ostentatious means?
I got a clue.
Okay, hey guys. I want to interrupt this episode, but yeah, gotta do what I gotta do. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you leave a comment if you enjoyed it. If you want any to give any feedback, even just leave that below. We're open to everything. Join the Patreon, guys. There's gonna be a lot more stuff on there. We want to hear from you guys as well. We want to get you involved. If you want to be beta testers to the SCULPTED app, let me know. I can make that happen. Try and get involved at any level. What we're doing at Live Free, guys, make sure you check what we're doing there. Liam's got his own personal YouTube channel. He's always uploading. I've got my own personal YouTube channel that I've started uploading twice a month now. It's going to be cinematic like I am now, right? I've got the light above, got a cool camera. That's what I'm going to be working on, guys. So make sure you follow Live Free Diaries. SCULPTED app. We're doing great stuff over there. Additionally, we want to grow this podcast, guys. And the only way we can do that is through your guys' help. So make sure you subscribe, listen to us on all audio platforms. We're everywhere. Make sure you interact with us. Make sure that you help us grow, because the only way that we can grow this podcast is through you. We'll get better guests. We've had great guests. We'll get even better guests on. Production value will go up. I've got my studio, but we need to get Liam his studio, and the only way we can do that is through monetizing this platform. So make sure you do that, guy. And I'll get back to the episode. Ostentatious means basically you're trying to sound like smart, but you're not that smart. And me even saying...
No, I'm trying to find words. I'm just trying to find words. I'm just trying to keep my eyes open at the same time.
Yeah, for context, guys, Liam's been up for about 20 hours today. Like, genuinely.
Yeah. No, it's just over 20 hours now.
Yeah, fun. Crazy. Okay, Liam, take us through.
I haven't even had a coffee as well, so...
Wait, you didn't have a coffee before your marathon?
No, I had a bagel with caffeine honey, to be fair. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, caffeine honey. Elite. Well, I want to go through your most recent video on YouTube, because I really enjoyed it. I think that it was a good...
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. I think it was a good kind of insight to what you're thinking. Maybe you can expand on it a little bit more as well.
Yeah, I got So, the YouTube title was I'm stopping playing football, full stop. Just add that at the end, full stop.
Yeah, why not 2 more full stops? So that's what I was kind of thinking.
I got... Maybe. Yeah, it could increase retention rate. Maybe I'd change that. Yeah. Sorry, we've got Nick over here who gets 1 million views on his YouTube videos.
Yeah, I use... That's actually the trick that I use, and that gets me 7 subscribers on my personal, and then about 0.3 on the podcast over a span of 4 years. It works.
No, but yeah, what I was saying was I did get a good response in comments. Like there was a load of people like saying like we support you in whatever decision. Like, but there was also most of the people saying like, why are you giving up so soon? You're in the 18, 19. Like you still got loads of time ahead of you. I think in response to those comments, before I go more in depth to the video, there's a lot of other stuff you haven't seen, and I'm not going to say because I don't want to out people and I don't want to hold grudges or anything like that. But there's a lot of things behind the scenes, as you probably have in your life, that a lot of other people don't know. Not talking about you, but like just viewers in general. Like, there's things in your life that go on that other people wouldn't know about you, but you just can't show them. And there was a quote I was listening to this morning. It was in Jay-Z's autobiography, and it was saying, what was it? It was practice in private or something to show it, like show in the light. But people don't see that in the private. They don't see the work behind the scenes and the things that go on behind the scenes, especially very political in the football space, and things going on there. And I think it's just taken a toll on me kind of all over the years. And for the impact I'm having to then see the output and the result, it wasn't kind of what I'd dreamed of. And yeah, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think I'm kind of...
Well, I think that we were in a similar position in terms of the amount of effort that we gave to something. We kind of want to see a similar return on that. Now, you actually made a good point in your video, which was about how you don't know if this is even going to be the same kind of reciprocation through business, right? We could be doing the exact same thing with business. We could be as dedicated as possible to business, but guess what? We don't see very much ROI on that investment that we give, and we give everything we can to the goal that we want to achieve. So there is no guarantee that we can necessarily get the return on investment that we want from business, but all we can promise is that we will do everything we can to get there. Now, with football, there's a few things that work against you in terms of your age, in terms of being a defender and a goalkeeper. That doesn't really typically work for you. And there's many other things where, you know, as Liam was saying, we don't need to go into that because every footballer goes through that. But a lot of footballers who put in less effort than Liam or myself get rewarded for that. And to us, we're not saying that's anything bad about football. We're not saying it's anything bad about the system. That's literally the game. And it's not to say that we couldn't have made a successful career.
It's a lie.
Yeah, we still can make a successful career. If Liam and I were to go back to football tomorrow, I actually still think that we could probably make it to the A-League or to the easily the National League for yourself, Liam. I think for me...
Well, yeah, I know, 100%. I was... sorry to cut you off. I was saying to Luke Garrett, I had a conversation with him, who was my manager at Bournemouth. I sat down with him yesterday or the day before. And we had a conversation about kind of I just spoke a little bit about my thoughts and the decision on it. I said, do I think I could play in the Premier League? I don't know. I don't think I could. Maybe I don't know, but I don't think I could. Like, the game's changed so much. Like, physically, you have to be so physically attuned to that level. Like, speed-wise, you have to have speed at that level. Like, Premier League level, you have to have a decent level of speed. Like, I've never been the quickest player, so do I think I could get away with it and try to cheat the system with my other attributes of, like, really good passing and those kind of things? Potentially, but at the end of the day, you're still going to get found out one way or another with those attributes, and you can only train them to a certain extent. So it's like, okay, you can't get to the Premier League level of having the speed and agility then. Although I put so many hours and thousands of hours into that aspect of my game, yes, I could probably play Championship, League 1, League 2 if I really put it in. But do I just want to have an kind of average career until I'm 40 years of age, and then kind of regret not going down something that my heart was really interested in, whether it's business, whether it's food, whether it's whatever, and I'm sitting there on my deathbed kind of regretting it.
I agree.
But yeah,
it's such a difficult one because as I said, and as you said in your video, it's like, we don't know if this is the right decision, but we would rather go out trying. And when it gets to a point where in football, it's not sustainable necessarily financially. If you're playing National League, if you're playing maybe League 2, it's sustainable. But even then, guess what? After you finish your football career, you're going to have to get a second job. You're going to have to, go to university again. You're going to have to do all of these steps that if you were to put the same amount of effort into something more financially rewarding, you don't have to worry about those things ever again. So that's where I think Liam and I are really trying to just shift our not perspective, because I think that we always knew it was there. We just wanted to make sure that we could give football a good try, which we both did. We truly both did. And now put it into another area of which may help us be more rewarded. And also, it may just naturally suit our personalities more. I think that we both kind of would suit the business world a little bit more than we do with football, because even with the football, we were both businessmen pretty much through football. You in terms of your social media, your production side, and for me, the LinkedIn and the networking side. That's typically what business people do, and we just did business in football pretty much.
Yeah, I know. It's such a hard thing to say, because you want to look in hindsight, but like you never know either way what's going to happen. Guess we'll have to see and look back on this in 10 years, 10 years, whatever.
Yeah,
see where we are then.
Do you reckon we'll have like
we'll
300 subscribers on the Sculpted podcast?
Bedrooms. Maybe we'll still be in our bedrooms filming the Sculpted podcast, or maybe we'll have our own
studio.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, High Performance just got a studio. They just got their own studio. I saw Jake Humphries put that on a story.
I thought they've always had a studio. Oh no, they were doing it like in apartment building.
No, a new one. Yeah, they got a new one in London. But yeah, I think you can always look at it in hindsight and say, oh, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And people were saying as well, like I got a lot of comments like saying, oh, you could just play like semi-pro, or like just play, still do it. It's just like, why would I do something just half-ass it?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm either all in or
I agree.
I'm all in on something. Like, I'm never half-assing. I'm never just going to play. They're like, oh, you could go do hybrid training and go for swimming and go for your runs and then go play football and play at semi-pro level and still enjoy it. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to do half into something and just half do a podcast and half do my social media, because you're not going to get good results out of anything, and you're not going to be interested or enjoy it. Like, if I'm a half playing football, my head's going to be one place and my body's going to be another.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's something that's also important, right? Those people who are dipping their toes into, you know, football, into like, bro, in Australia, we've got guys who in my team would be playing cricket on the weekend, like for a club as well. And I'm thinking, I mean, you can do that. Sure, I don't have a problem with you doing that because that's what you want, but that could never be me. Like, that's just made me rethink everything. Because I'm like, is that the type of people who I'm playing with right now? Well, they are nothing alike me. Only a few months ago, I was literally in a professional team playing in the 3rd division in Germany, and now I'm with a bunch of people, and it's no disrespect to them. It's more, I was disappointed with my efforts in terms of where I ended up, and that's an accumulation of different things with the surgery and whatnot. I never expected to even be in Australia again, but the surgery, not that I am disappointed with the surgery even, it's more, that's just what happened, and it was up to me to make it work from there, and I didn't do so, therefore I move on to the next thing, and I don't have any emotional attachment to football. That's why I was able to stop playing it, never touch football again, and I probably won't, and I don't care about that, if I'm being honest. I said that from day one. But for Liam, what's your kind of thoughts with that? Like, you do still love football, right?
Yeah, I had a comment on my Instagram, my YouTube video, of someone saying like, oh, like, you probably don't know it, but in a year's time you're gonna miss it and you're gonna make a comeback in a year's time and keep wanting to play. And I read that comment and I was like, I don't think I will. Like, I don't think that, it's not even funny either. It's like, I don't think it's going to be like that.
Yeah.
I'm not that type of person to go back and forth with things.
Yeah.
Like, if I stop something, I'm stopping it. And yes, I've done it, and it's a sad period of my life. Like, I've done football. I've said this to Nick. I've done football for 15, 16 years. And I feel like I could have put so much effort and time into something else. I could have put it into business, or I could have put it into a running ultra marathon when I was 13 years of age. But I wouldn't have all the experiences and be where I am today if it wasn't for what I've gone through with football in the past 14, 15, whatever it is, years since I could kick a ball. Like, I wouldn't have played against those teams. I wouldn't have built up the discipline. I wouldn't have built up the work drive to be where I am today and have that mentality of just say the day before, okay, I'm going to go run a marathon tomorrow just to prove to myself I can do it.
If it weren't for football, we wouldn't be here now. And it's not even that we wouldn't know each other. It's also the people who you see in front of the camera, guys. We are much better people because of football. Because of all the struggle that we went through, we're much better because of it. And we're never going to take that away. We're very glad and very thankful that we did choose to go down football, because it's such a difficult thing to do, and you become such a better person. Is that English? Such a difficult language. You become so much better.
I think yes and no. I think yes and no, because you can get caught in a bad group of down and out people who are just going out drinking and partying.
Oh, we were.
If the lower you go, obviously, it depends what level you're at. Because if you're playing step 3, step 4 in England, most of those people are doing drugs, drinking after the games, and doing that, and they don't care about, like, they're just there to have a little jolly on a Saturday. Whereas you go step 1, League 2, League 1, Championship, they're more professional. Although they still do it, they still go out drinking and then partying. There's no exceptions, but it's a lot more professional because they're getting paid and that is their main focus and their main job. Whereas these people who are just doing it on a Saturday, training twice a week, part-time, it's a different story.
Yeah.
So trying to be around the right people.
I think what I was more alluding to is just the pursuit of trying to become the best player in the world. Like Liam and my intention from the get-go.
Yeah, the attributes. Yeah.
Whatever we did, it was to become the best in the world that we could. And through that pursuit, even if we, were to be there and we just don't know, maybe we stopped too early, or maybe we made the right decision, I think that pursuit is so important, and I'm so glad that, we both did it. I think it's definitely better for us.
The last topic I want to touch on before my eyes shut and I fall asleep. This is going to be a shorter episode. It's still 45 minutes or whatever. But I want to touch on the attributes of a successful person. So there's 2 types of people I want to go over. So you have a person who's going to get run over in life, where they're very nice. Actually, disregard that first statement because I want to know your opinion.
Okay.
So you have a person that's very aggressive and they don't care what people think. They're going to go their own way. They're going to trample over whoever's in their way, and they just don't they just don't care. They're just going to get on with their journey and strive towards their goals. And then you have a second person who's the same but is very kind and caring and loving, and is gonna. Okay, I don't want to give that away, but what's your thoughts in regards to success with those 2 different people? And then I'll kind of explain.
Yeah. So on paper, I think that the person who's a little bit more empathetic probably doesn't see success as what the other person sees success as anyways. So I think that they both may be successful in their own eyes. And that's not to say that there is necessarily a golden standard for success in this world, because I actually don't really think there is. There are people who are stupid, who have a lot of money. There are people who have done a lot of bad things, who have a lot of money. There is no moral calculator for if you've done X, Y, and Z in your life, you will be rewarded X, Y, and Z in your life. I'm sure that there's homeless people who are the most amazing people in the world out there, and then there's some deadbeats who are millionaires, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. So I don't necessarily think that either stereotype of either person will necessarily prevail. But if we were to say in a very black and white blanket kind of statement, then what the more aggressive kind of person versus the more empathetic person would result in terms of the modern day success, we would probably lean towards the more aggressive person seeing more of a financial success, although that also probably does mean that they have less fulfillment because they are morally probably differentiating themselves from everyone else, which then may have, other implications in terms of character and things like that, which they may just feel unfulfilled. So it's a bit of a tough one to answer, but I think if we're talking about today's standard of what success looks like, you do have to be very ruthless, because to get above every single other person, we're talking about billions of people here. So you truly do have to be not like psycho, like not too psycho, but you have to have a little bit of psycho about you, and that's just the game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just saying that because I had a conversation with someone about it, and they said that. Actually, I won't go into that, but yeah, I do think as well. I do think it's the same. I think if you let people run over you and you're too kind and you're too caring and those kinds of things, you can get a bit run over and just taken advantage of.
Yeah.
I think is a big word,
Like I did, basically.
and yeah, I think you kind of have to stand up for yourself, and
Yeah.
I think it comes with age. Yes, it does come with age. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you don't have to be caring and kind of, for us, gentlemen in the aspect of like those kind of things. Like, it doesn't mean you can't be nice and can't be kind, but you just have to know the place and the right time to stand up for yourself. And if someone is doing wrong by you, or you're putting in the hours and the work, and they're not giving you the respect you deserve, you have to stand up for yourself and not let people walk over you, because if you're letting people walk over you, you're not going to really get that far.
I had a really interesting experience when I was at the Sydney Swans event, and I just had to find a guy. I really, really admired him because he was very, very respectable. The way that he presented himself, the way that he spoke, the way that he dealt with criticism that was kind of indirect was amazing. We had a bit of a difficult kind of character when I was at the Sydney Swans event, and I don't honestly know what his kind of intention was to go to that event, but he was there and he was not really like being abusive as such, but he was just being a pain. Like, he was asking stupid questions that he knew were stupid, and I think he may have had something a little bit, maybe it was a little bit loopy. I'm not too sure. If you don't know what I mean by that, neither do I. But you probably get picking up what I'm putting down. There was something a little bit weird about him, and he was like asking stupid questions. He's like, "I want to interrupt this episode, but yeah, got to do what I got to do." Make sure you like this video. Make sure you leave a comment if you enjoyed it. If you want any to give any feedback, even just leave that below. We're open to everything. Join the Patreon, guys. There's going to be a lot more stuff on there. We want to hear from you guys as well. We want to get you involved. If you want to be beta testers to the SCULPTED app, let me know. I can make that happen. Try and get involved at any level. What we're doing at Live Free, guys, make sure you check what we're doing there. Liam's got his own personal YouTube channel. He's always uploading. I've got my own personal YouTube channel that I've started uploading twice a month now. It's going to be cinematic like I am now, right? I've got the light above, got a cool camera. That's what I'm going to be working on, guys. So make sure you follow Live Free Diaries, SCULPTED app. We're doing great stuff over there. Additionally, we want to grow this podcast, guys. And the only way we can do that is through your guys' help. So make sure you subscribe, listen to us on all audio platforms. We're everywhere. Make sure you interact with us. Make sure that you help us grow, because the only way that we can grow this podcast is through you. We'll get better guests. We've had great guests. We'll get even better guests on. Production value will go up. I've got my studio, but we need to get Liam his studio, and the only way we can do that is through monetizing this platform. So make sure you do that, guy. And I'll get back to the episode. Really indirectly disrespectful, and the guy, his name's Drew Arthurson, and he was really, really respectful the way that he dealt with it, and I think that he was being a gentleman, but he also wasn't letting himself be necessarily stepped on. And also, it wasn't even necessarily a personal attack. It was an attack to Sydney Swans. And he was saying, but why didn't you keep the name Melbourne or something? Because Sydney Swans were originally in South Melbourne, then moved to Sydney, changed their name, did everything. And he's saying, like, why didn't you just stay in Melbourne? And even though Drew had no responsibility for what the Sydney Swans did back in the 90s or the 80s or whatever it was, he still was very, very clear about how his company made the right decision. He stands by it, and he just wasn't letting himself be stepped over by this guy who was arguably being pretty disrespectful. So I think that's that type of... actually, you know Drew Burton, the tea coach? Okay, your brother does.
No.
He talks about like a healthy disrespect, and I think that's a healthy disrespect, where you can stand up for yourself. You're not being disrespectful back, but you have to stand up for yourself.
There's a confidence in your own opinion, in your own ability. You have to have a certain air about yourself, and that founders thing I was listening to this morning with Kanye, Jay-Z and Kanye West, and they were reading their own Grammy speech at the age of 12, knowing that they were going to reach the Grammys.
Yeah.
They already knew that, like they were manifesting that, and that would only then present later on in their life because they would have that air of confidence, and you can see that in Kanye, you can see that in Jay-Z, because they know their ability, they know they're capable of it. So I think that comes with obviously putting in the hours behind the scenes to know what you're capable of, and being able to craft that and sculpt that kind of techniques and abilities to then obviously have that confidence backed by it. But yeah, that was kind of what I wanted to go over in that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good way to wrap it up, because we are needing to let Liam get to bed. Liam, what's that time?
11:39. It's not too late, but it is since I've been up at 3:30.
Yeah, so we'll let Liam get to sleep. I really enjoyed this episode. I think that when we freestyle it, it's actually, we get onto some good topics, so it's definitely good to do these. I like that. Guys, make sure you follow the Literary Diaries. Make sure you keep up to date with what we're doing there.
Yeah.
Subscribe to our personal channels. We're doing stuff on YouTube, both regularly now. So yeah.
Actually, I want to go into what Nick's doing in the next episode. We're going to go into what Nick's doing on his own private channels.
Okay.
So we will go over that in the next episode, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
So as Nick said, subscribe everywhere, and we will see you on the next one.
Wait.
Peace out, guys.
We're almost at 200 subscribers, actually. So, guys, let's
okay,
go.
Not peace out. Go subscribe.
Oh, go. Ciao.